Good morning, everyone. Like Richard was saying, today I'm going to talk about aligning business strategy with people strategy. So what does this mean? Aligning business strategy to people strategy, for me, is all about leadership. In my job in executive search, I'm helping big companies, medium-sized companies with the leadership and the leadership teams. And what to pay attention to, how to assess those leaders, and especially if you look at all the digital and disruption which is going on in the marketplace, what kind of leadership should we try to find for that company because of all the changes in the market. To give you one example before I start my presentation, I came back from Singapore last year, and I called one of my former clients where I placed a CEO in Germany about 5 years ago. And this company did very well for 3 years, everything went fine, the CEO did a great job. But then the market got liberalized in Germany, and it meant for that business that suddenly there was competition. And that competition were the same investors from Airbnb and Uber. And they invested about 200 million in a new company, and they made a digital platform, they created a technology firm, and to make a long story short, the client was asking me in September last year, please can you help us to replace the CEO because it's not going well. We can't, cope with the new situation. We need a new guy. So I said, okay, fine. Let's understand what you guys are looking for. So what happened is this. In the end, the company went bankrupt in less than 6 months' time. And what happened is that the executive board, people who were based in Portugal and Spain, were not able to cope with the new reality. They were not able to see, okay, we need different kind of leadership, not focusing on finance only, not focusing on people management only, but we need someone with a new vision who can win the new consumers, can win the customers across the region. So this is an example of one company who didn't make it. And probably looking at businesses today in the Netherlands, but also internationally, I see many companies are not ready for the new situation. So my presentation today is a different angle from what we heard from the previous speaker. Mine is about looking at leadership and what does it mean for the leaders in companies and how to address the new situation. The presentation is in 3 parts. One is the macroeconomic level, where we talk about the 4th industrial revolution. It's a short movie, but I'll tell you why I'll show you that movie. The second one is what do leaders need to do to build their organization and make it ready for the future. And the third one is about the complexity levels. I mean, if you're a tailor and you're making new clothes and people are buying it, then you do a good job. But if the competition is selling online or do other things, suddenly there are other criteria which makes that the tailor might lose business and then in the end might lose their business at all. So those are the 3 topics I'm going to share with you. If there are any questions in the meantime, please feel free. I also like it when it's interactive. So, like I said, the world is changing dramatically. And this means that we need a different kind of leadership. And if you look at a study of PwC, where they interviewed 6,000 executives in 43 countries, only 8% is ready to be a strategic leader. So what does it mean? 92% is not ready, is not able to be coping with the new situation. That's a big number. So what is going on? So first I'm going to show you a short movie about the 4th Industrial Revolution. Maybe you've seen it, but I want to show it to you because the first 3 mean something different than the 4th Industrial Revolution. This is me, but I'll skip that. What is the difference between the first three industrial... What's the difference between the first three industrial revolutions and the fourth one? Anyone? Sorry? Speed of change. Yes, that's one. Can you say again? Yes, also. But one thing I wanted to say is that the first three industrial revolutions did something for us as humans. It helped us humans to evolve, to develop, etc. But the fourth industrial revolution is about us helping planet Earth, to make planet Earth a better place. So today, this presentation is also about what can you do. There's someone in the US who said something, what can you do for your country? And so what can you do for planet Earth? And all of you here in this room are working for companies or on your own. You guys have to be the value creators. You guys have to be the ones who can add value to the world and make the world a better place. And this is what I'm going to show you in a minute in the second part. So, but first I want to talk with you about a couple of slides of Deloitte. And Deloitte did a study about rewriting the rules for the digital age. And what you can see, technology is going very fast, but you can see business productivity is staying behind. So what's really happening? And what's really happening is that technology is going fast, but individuals are also going fast. All in this room, every one of us knows about the technology and the new developments that are happening. But businesses, they have to, the big, sometimes big tanks, it takes much longer to change their business model, their strategy, etc. And especially the public policy, even they go slower. So there's a gap. And this gap is not about HR. This gap is about leaders. The leaders have to change and help to close the gaps between technology and what the consumers want, what businesses want, and what governments want. So that's something that's really happening. So the top 10 trends, and I'm not going to talk about them all in detail, but I'm going to do one. But I just want to let you know how to redesign the organization and its leadership for the future. That's one. How we build a culture of continuous learning, adaptability, growth, and personal development. How we leverage data, cognitive technologies, and AI to improve the organization and its teams. How we design employee experience for engagement, productivity, and growth. How we build a new management system to empower and engage the teams. How we leverage digital technology to design and improve work, the workplace and the workforce. And these are all the 10 trends which leaders have to deal with in a company. So imagine if you're a leader, this is a big job to do, right? So, and you can't do it all at once. People in general don't like change. So if you want to change things, it takes a lot of time. So what is happening, and this one I want to do a little bit more of detail, that things are changing. Changing from a hierarchical structure where the boss is telling, okay, we go to the left, we go to the right, to networks and a network of teams with shared values and culture, transparent goals and projects, free flow of information, and people are rewarded for the skills and abilities and not per se for the position like it is today. So if you can imagine, and again for you also in your company, if you work in a country or across countries, across cultures, dealing with other people, and I've seen this in Asia, people from Singapore, dealing with people from Australia, dealing with people from Korea, dealing with people in Japan, all different cultures. Can you imagine how it's not easy for people from a Western culture to understand the Eastern culture. So it takes time to understand each other and to work in teams and make use of the strengths of each other. And this is, when you deal with others, you have to understand their frame of reference. Where are they today and where do I start with my story or to influence people as a leader? And this is happening. So leaders need to think differently, they need to act differently, and they need to react differently. I mean, Steve Jobs of Apple, you all know him. His dream was not just to make computers. He wanted to create a new lifestyle for people. So he thought differently, he acted differently, and he reacted differently with all the tools they're having. And this is also what Mr. Cameron yesterday said. My leadership style is different, he said. He said, I'm a team player and I don't know it all. I work with my team to understand what's best to do. So the management thinking from hierarchical to network of teams, but what will be the next step? And the next step, and this is something based on the fourth industrial revolution movie, I think there will be a combination between human neurotechnology networks, where it's all about serving Earth and mankind. We have to facilitate, as leaders, learning and experiencing. And the teams are not king, but I think the people who are able to create value, whether it's in your job or on a bigger level, those are the true heroes. So we go back now in time, and I'm going to show you about the levels of complexity. Again, remember, I'm in executive search. I have to assess people if they are capable for a company, and the companies are different. It could be Fortune 500, which is complex. It could be smaller businesses, local businesses. Every time you have to assess what kind of person is right for the job. And sometimes you can ask yourself the question, are you big enough for your job, or is your job big enough for you? Think about it. Sometimes people are overqualified for jobs, but they want a job. Some people, they have to stretch themselves to get the job done. So this is something you always have to assess when you look for people, going beyond the hard facts like education, work experience, which is traditional what companies do. So value creation throughout the ages. On the left-hand side, you see a hospital. And people are sick and they go to the hospital, and the goal is to make them better. On the right-hand side, you see how it evolved over time. And you see modern technology, you see more customized experience. But the complexity increased because technology is involved also in the hospital. So this is an example of the levels of value creation and complexity. So what you see here are 7 levels. First one is about quality. If you want to sell something, it must be quality. Then you add service. Then you add a best practice. This is the way to do it. Then you add differentiation. Like Nespresso is differentiating coffee making from Douwe Egberts when it's the old traditional way. Then it's about reputation, societal contribution, about sustainability. And the last one is about societal progress. Green energy, making the earth a better place like we discussed. So here you see quickly someone who just is about quality, just making something and then selling it to the customer. The second one is about another dimension, adding the quality criteria, smoother and better. The third, what you see is, okay, different circumstances. Bigger family, so they need a bigger fan. So as a company, you need to make bigger cars. The fourth one is about Heinz, different kind of tomato ketchup, but all different sizes and different bottles. And another dimension is added. So David Ogilvy says, if it isn't creative, it doesn't sell. So your product must be creative. It's about the customer experience. It's about the emotional context. Everyone knows the commercials of Coca-Cola with Christmas and the Santa Claus coming. It brings an emotion in you. So they did very well by getting the hearts of the customers. Another one is the culture context. Whether you're in traffic jam or you're driving without traffic, it's a different context and a different experience. The relational context, a daddy with children, iPhone, iPod, iPad, and the father has to pay. So, you know, that's the relation. And then the final one is about the future. It's about robotization from how is mankind developing and evolving. It is all about technology as well. So another one is about adding. 2 companies are working together, co-creation, a car company plus a video company, or a coffee company with a consumer goods company working together. It's co-creation. Uber, okay, the CEO stepped down, as I read in, or is on leave, I saw this morning. But driving of taxis is a different meaning thanks to Uber. And the same for producing coffee. Yeah, first you had to go to the bar. Now everyone can be a barista to make their own good coffee as an espresso. So social contribution, I said yesterday as well, Nestle, good food, good life. It's already more about sustainability and making the place a better earth, making the earth a better place. United Nations, again, adding another level. And World Fair Trade, also a company which is focusing on societal progress. So I wanted to share with you all of this to show, okay, if you look at leadership, if you look at your company, and some of you work for big companies, some work for small companies, you have to think for yourself, what kind of company do I work? What is important for us? Is it only about the money? Is it only about getting the numbers? Or is it about more? What is it that my CEO is, what's the vision of the company? Where do they want to go? And with that, you can also measure the mental capability of a leader. So this is what I want to show, because some people can work, you have to, this is about coffee beans. The context is simple at the lower end, and it's becoming more complex at the higher end, because more people are involved, society is involved, which makes it all more complex. So this is a process of value creation for coffee. So Valpio is part of our business, and what we say and what we do is that people are value creators. And the key thing is that the thinking of people. Are you capable, mentally capable of thinking to the next level? Or are you just focusing, okay, this is what you have to do today. My job is the office in a branch or in a country, and that's it. Or is your job bigger than that, thinking more about society? So besides knowledge and experience, the drivers, the derailers, as they call it, where things can go wrong, the key thing is about increasing mental processing capability for future leaders. And this is what I do when I look at succession planning for companies. Are leaders mentally capable of thinking further than today, thinking further than the profit and loss for the company? So I want to finalize with
what is the essence of business? Selling goods? Services? Not quite. It's all about value creation for all your stakeholders, even for society. This is how you attract customers, talent, investors, and suppliers. It's how you remain sustainable, profitable, or even become disruptive. And it's all governed by a simple principle. The more value you want to add, the more time this will take, and the more complex it will be for the person doing it. So, at Valpeo, we don't ask where a person will be in 5 years' time. We change perspective. We ask, what level of value could this person add to this organization, given the proper guidance and training without being underused or overstretched? And how, in turn, can the organization be of value to her or him? To answer these questions, we create digital, scientifically backed processes. Apps that help you define how much value each role in the organization should add, and that assist you in rewarding those roles fairly. Cloud-based software that provides insight into how and to what degree the organization creates value for everyone involved. That even assesses the dynamics of the board and the culture of the organization, supporting this process in a dynamic way. By connecting people, work and strategy, we inject agility as well as stability. This integrated approach takes the complexity out of company systems. This helps them reach their full potential. This turns anyone feeling just like another brick in the wall into a cornerstone, a true value creator. Join our community of value creators.
Any questions based on this presentation? Or comments? Good morning.
From your perspective, you're saying that when you look at succession at the organizations, you assess the ability of leaders, and the question is how to help leaders transform, because it's not about replacing them, it's about actually transforming them into what you've just shown.
It's a very good question. How to help them to transform is about starting with self-awareness. And self-awareness is about knowing your own style. What is your thinking style? What is your leadership style? What's your communication style? Your personality? These are the things we first have to assess. And the models we work with is, it's not about results only or processes, but also how are you dealing with people? And what is your innovation, thinking and mindset? And this is what we can assess through assessments, like the previous speaker was saying. Assessments are helping to have a starting point. And with that starting point, we have a conversation about you and your background. And with that, then of course there will be programs to develop the leaders to the next level. But it's all different because each of you is different, and each of you has a different experience. So every time this is tailor-made services. Does it answer your question?
It does. There is one additional from your perspective, because in HR sometimes we say, okay, we assess the potential through different assessments, yes? And then there is a point where you say, does the person have a potential to change? So the potential to go through the programs and actually come out changed. So do you have any, have you worked with any leaders where at the beginning you said there is no potential, and then at the end, there are ways because you've designed the program in a special way that actually the person succeeded?
Yeah, so what we do first, and this is the tool we're using, is that the levels you see on the left-hand side, those are the levels where we have to assess where's the leader. Is he only focused on quality? Is he focused on service, best practice, differentiation, reputation? And this is about context management. So if you're leading in Poland, then you know your country, you know how things are done. But then we ask you to take a bigger role, let's say, for Eastern Europe. So what's happening in the Czech Republic? What's happening in the Baltic states? What's happening there? Are you able with your mind to think and act and react about that situation? Because that culture is different. In Asia, there's a big disconnect between what America is thinking or Europe is thinking versus what's happening in Asia. If you go to Korea, for example, and you're a consumer goods company, women go out there in the marketplace with 7 layers of makeup. They like that. So it's a different business model than maybe in Holland, where girls maybe go more natural, when they go out. So succession planning is about understanding and assessing the capability of leaders to where can they go, how open-minded are they. There's also studies about if people live only in the same group and act in the same group, then the thinking is smaller than when people have been internationally abroad and have seen other things, other ways of doing. And when we first time were in Singapore, we were invited for a wedding from the Islam. And I thought, Islam? I've never been to a wedding of the Islam. But then you go there and you see how it is. There are also people. We went to a marriage of Indian Sikh wedding with a turban. How you say it in English? I don't know. Huh? Turban. Yeah, with the turban. And I didn't know what to expect. But then you see it, it's different. And this is how open-minded are you as leader. So to each of you, I always say, if you get the opportunity to go abroad and work internationally, it will help you to develop yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? You've got 1 minute left, so for one more question. Sorry? Yeah. So the question is, if you go back to your office on Monday morning at your desk, what's the first thing or the first 3 things you have to do before you start working? I think today is Wednesday, so we still have some time. So what I would do is I would reflect on myself. Who am I? What am I doing? And who do I want to be? Change starts inside out. It starts with you first. Then you have to look at your company as well. Who are they? How is my management? How is my leadership? What's their vision? Do I want to be part of that? I'm not saying that you have to leave your job, but you can ask yourself the question, is this the right place for me? Like I said, are you big enough for your job? Is your job big enough for you? So you guys all have unique skills, but in many companies the talents are not always visible because of the hierarchical structure. I worked in Germany, it's very hierarchical. I worked in Switzerland, it's very, very hierarchical. So you don't get to the highest level if you don't have a seat to the table. So the world is changing, and each of you have a choice. Where do I put my energy? Where do I want to work? What do I want to do? And this is something for all of you to consider. But of course, I understand also you've got your family situation. You can't make overnight decisions, so you have to take it step by step. But good luck with the Monday morning. Good. I think that's it. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you all.